Henning Midttun from IJES CERA is going to talk to us about the FLNG market outlook. Henning, Senior Research Analyst in CERA, in the E&P Cost and Technology team. Are you going to tell us something about cost as well?
Probably not as much as you would hope or like. But,
that's what everybody wants to hear. All right. His responsibilities include tracking of FLNG projects, forecasting demand and capacity with the FLNG and engineering services mark. So, look forward to your presentation. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me all right? In the back as well? Okay, good. Yeah, thank you for the introduction. I'm part of IHS, which acquired my previous employer, ODS Petrodata, last year. I've been working with IHS or ODS Petrodata for almost 3 years now, and I've been covering various market segments and companies. Just 2 words about our company. IHS, some of you might be familiar with our company. We are a company providing research and analysis across a broad range of industries. You see some of the main capabilities here within energy, power, defense and risk, country and industry forecasting, and we cover a lot of different industries. The part that I'm in covers the energy and oil and gas sector in specific. Within IHS CERA, I work in a group called the Market Service System, which is a market intelligence unit that works with the oil and gas operators. So what we do is we provide insight and analysis on specific market segments. We cover 28 different segments, which are the ones that you see here, and we track around 700 different oil service companies. I cover the FLNG market in MSS, and Kelvin, Sam, which is also in the audience here, covers the FPSO market. And ODS has been presenting at these conferences for both FLNG and FPSO for several years now. So I'm happy to be here and represent IHS for the conference this time. All right, let's have a look at the agenda for today. I'll start off by giving you a short overview of the FLNG market as we see it. I'll then move on to look at FLNG and the global gas markets and have a look at the supply and demand drivers for gas and LNG. I'll then move on to talk a little bit about the market trends and risks that we see in the FLNG business. And then I'll wrap things up with a conclusion and summary in the end. And then I'll also take your questions at the end of the presentation. So before we move into the market itself, I just want to tell you our scope when we look at FLNG. We look at the engineering, procurement, and construction of the FLNG vessel itself. We look at FLNG at LNG liquefaction. I'm not going to talk about regasification. We also have reports looking into regas in IHS. So please come see me if you're interested in that after the presentation. So let's move on to the Asia-Pacific, where we're located right now. We see that the FLNG projects in the Asia-Pacific region are really starting to materialize. This is the region with the most FLNG projects which have reached the feed phase or beyond the feed phase. We see that there are a number of Asian operators in the driver's seat, really driving the developments here. You have Petronas, a big player, just sanctioned the Canoet project, and also quite far in developing its second project offshore Malaysia. You have Inpex, who's looking into developing Abadi with a floating LNG solution, and you have the Thai operator PTT looking to develop the Cash Maple fields with FLNG. So why is FLNG becoming so popular in the Asia-Pacific? Well, there are a number of reasons. There are many small gas fields suitable for FLNG development. Yeah, I was after the cyclone presentation just before lunch, I was a bit worried about including this point, but many of the promoters of FLNG say that the benign waters facilitate the transfer of LNG offshore, and also many of these fields are in close proximity to the end user markets, which are in the Asia-Pacific. I'm going to have a closer look at the user markets later on in the presentation. However, apart from the Asia-Pacific, we see that FLNG projects are being considered across the globe. Still, the majority of projects are in Asia-Pacific, but we see Africa emerging as a region, both on the west end and on the east side. We have the Tamar project advancing in the Middle East Mediterranean region. And we have also seen the Americas advancing with a few projects. La Vaca Bay emerged this year, and also the La Creciente is being built as we speak. We see that the FLNG contracting activity has picked up in the past 6 months. The year started off somewhat slow, but then we saw a couple of things happen. We saw Accelerate announce the first FLNG project to be developed in the United States. They're planning to connect to the gas grid system in the United States and have a vessel moored close to shore. Also, Petronas has been quite busy. It has been tendering for the Rotterdam FLNG project. Then in April, it became known that it had already sanctioned its Canoet FLNG project, and then this became official in early June when they awarded the EPCIC contract to DSME and Technip. Going forward, we see that there will be quite some activity as well. Now, I just heard that the Rotterdam FLNG has progressed even further. There are now two consortiums in the FEED competition there. We also expect that Abadi should award a FEED contract soon. And there are a number of projects also looking to advance in 2013. Now, if we look a bit further into the horizon, we see that there are up to 14 projects planned on stream by the end of 2018. In the graph here, I've accumulated all of the capacity that's planned on stream in the period 2014 to 2018. If we add all of these up by 2018, yeah, the plans are close to 35 MTPA of on-stream capacity. Now, we don't believe that all of this is going to happen. We know that from previous experience that a lot of changes happen, projects get delayed, and projects get canceled, and other development options are chosen. We think a more likely scenario is 7 to 8 projects online during this time frame, and even this could be a bit too optimistic. We think the forecast or the risk here is more on the downside, that it could end up lower than this. However, we currently do have 3 projects which are currently sanctioned and under construction. That's the La Creciente, the FLSRU offshore Colombia, which is scheduled to come on stream in 2014. We have Petronas Canoet FLNG scheduled to come on stream in 2015. And we have the Prelude, which is scheduled to come on stream in 2017. So we should have another 4 projects or so which should get sanctioned and come on stream by 2018. I'm also accounting for that there could potentially be 1 or 2 projects that we have not been able to identify yet that could actually emerge and be a candidate for becoming a real project as well. In addition to everything that's going on the FLNG side, there's a lot of FLNG, there's a lot of LNG capacity being developed onshore with all the onshore liquefaction projects. The graph here shows our forecast for the capacity development within the onshore LNG segment. Currently, there's a little less than, there's about 280 MTPA as of the end of 2011, and we expect around 300 MTPA to be on stream by the end of 2012. Now, going towards 2018, this could increase to a little less than 450 MTPA. So quite a big increase is expected over this period, with some of the big projects being Gorgon, Curtis, and Ichthys, all in Australia. So with 14 onshore LNG plants under construction, and even more in the pipeline, we're wondering, with so many projects already under development, does the world need extra supply coming from FLNG? Well, in order to answer this, I'll take a look at the fundamentals driving the supply and demand for gas going forward. If we first start off with the gas price, it's expected to remain at the higher levels for the years to come. Japan, obviously, is the most attractive market for selling gas following the Fukushima disaster last year. The only exception with the high price environment is, of course, North America and the Henry Hub price, which has continued to remain low because of all the unconventionals that are being developed in North America. Now, as you see from our forecast, we believe that the prices in the US will continue to remain on the low side. However, in most of the other regions, prices are believed to stay high, and most of the projects will be economical to develop with these prices. If we look at the demand for gas and for LNG, we see that LNG is increasing its share of natural gas consumption. We saw some presentations yesterday that showed some of the same picture. We expect the natural gas demand to increase 55% from 2010 to 2030. In the same time frame, LNG demand is expected to grow around 123%. Also in this time period, Asia-Pacific is expected to overtake North America as the largest gas consumer. This could happen by 2020. We can now look a bit further into some of the factors that are driving the supply and demand developments. First, looking at the demand side, Asia and Japan will be driving demand growth in the short term from 2012 to 2015. The growth will be focused in Asia, and Japanese demand will likely remain high due to slow nuclear startup. If you turn to the Middle East, it is expected there that the local demand for gas will actually increase, and some of these countries will actually reduce their LNG exports. We see that global prices have diverged with different regional price dynamics, and this is expected to continue at least in the short term. If we look towards the longer term, Japan and South Korea will remain the largest markets, but the demand growth will slow down from the previous levels. Also, the gas consumption in Indonesia and Malaysia is expected to be strong, and they could become net importers of LNG in the longer term. Latin America is also expected to become a big market for LNG. However, adding to these demand forecasts is the fact that the future of nuclear generation adds great uncertainty. If we now turn to the supply picture, we see a slow LNG supply growth before 2015, but there is significant capacity underway, as we saw from the graph a few slides ago. Now, the reason for the slow supply growth is due to few project sanctions in the period 2006 to 2009. However, a lot is under construction, and new Australian supply is scheduled to come online from late 2014. But we expect delays. The reason for delays is that the LNG industry has been historically riddled with delays. There are problems with the construction labor side, getting access to all the resources to develop these projects simultaneously. Also, LNG shipping is bottlenecked, and it's costly with interregional deliveries. We also think that you could see some North American LNG projects reach FID, but this is still also highly uncertain. In the longer term, we see that almost 100 million tons of annual supply is expected to be added between 2015 and 2020. Again, I want to emphasize that there is a risk for startup delays. This will push back the actual timing of supply, but the capacity is still there and will come on stream eventually. Also, there is a large inventory of North American liquefaction projects that could come online. However, the visibility into this is still quite low. And also want to highlight that there's a large potential for unconventional gas developments in China over the longer term. The graph here shows our forecast LNG capacity, adding up what's already on stream, our forecast from what's coming on stream onshore, and then I've added on the forecast for what we think can come on stream from floating LNG as well. As my title indicates, FLNG can contribute 17% of the new LNG capacity between 2014 and 2020, nothing before that. We expect a 57% growth in LNG liquefaction from 2012 to 2020. I see that's about the same as one of the presentations said yesterday as well, so it seems like we're somewhat in line there. However, supply from FLNG will still play a limited role in the supply picture in this time frame. And in 2020, we expect that 5% of the global LNG capacity could come from FLNG. The green part here in 2020 translates to around 22, 23, 24 MTPA. If we now compare supply and demand for LNG, we see that even though demand is growing quite rapidly towards 2020, the supply is expected to grow even more. We have LNG demand here in the green line, the supply from both onshore and offshore, the blue line, and then the yellow dotted line is the LNG demand in percent of supply. Currently, the LNG demand is at 85% of supply, and it's then characterized as a fairly tight market. You see as more LNG comes on stream towards 2016, 2017, the utilization drops, reaching the low 70s, the mid 70s, in 2017, 2018, and then it's characterized as a fairly more loose market before then tightening again a little bit towards the end of the period. In 2020, we still think that the total LNG liquefaction capacity could exceed demand by about 100 MTPA. So considering the supply-demand balance, we don't see that there is any immediate need for the extra capacity coming from FLNG. So why are the companies doing this then? Well, we see that there is a strong market interest in FLNG due to some essential advantages. Now, I could probably list up lots of different advantages here, but I've listed the ones that we see are driving some of the very first developments in the industry. First of all, it gives companies an opportunity to secure and monetize resources from small and stranded gas fields, both onshore and offshore. Prelude and La Creciente are two examples of this. It gives players a new and flexible way of exporting gas. such as with the Lavaca Bay project planned in the US. It's an entry ticket for new players in LNG, both on the operator side and also on the contractor side. Interoil and Noble are two examples of this. Also, FLNG potentially offers a lower cost than onshore LNG. But this is yet to be proven, and we're still hesitant to say that the costs in FLNG will be lower. But it will be interesting to see once we have better data points from the first few projects. So all in all, we see that gaining experience, market entry opportunities, and perceived cost advantages are the primary drivers behind the very first FLNG developments. So let me then take you through some market trends and risks. We see that the very first project sanctioned so far have very different characteristics. The first three projects that have been sanctioned are the La Creciente in Colombia, Canoet in Malaysia, and Prelude in Australia. First of all, we can have a look at sort of the ownership and the risk sharing. The first two, Pacific Rubiales and Petronas, have chosen to take 100% ownership of their two projects. Shell did the same initially with Prelude. It later chose to sell down, first to Inpex with a 17.5% stake, and then selling further down to KOGAS and CPC. This in order to reduce its risk in the project and also reduce its share of the capital expenditure for the project. If we then look at the capacity and the capex, there's a huge difference as well. The La Creciente is a very small-scale project. It's got a floating liquefaction part, and it's got a regas part as well. It's a bit different from your typical project. It's only got 0.5 MTPA. Prelude is 7 times bigger, 3.6 MTPA, and capex for the vessel in the range of $5 to $10 billion. I've seen a lot of different figures for Prelude, so I wanted to keep quite a wide interval for that. And then there's the Canoet, which is somewhere in between, 1/3 of the size of Prelude in terms of the capacity. Also, the lead times quite different. La Creciente was sanctioned this year and is planned to be on stream already in 2014. Canoet was sanctioned this year and planned on stream in 2015. While Prelude is taking its time, it's obviously a very big project, sanctioned last year and planned to be operational in 2017. With regards to the contracting model as well, they've chosen a bit different routes. Both Petronas and Shell have chosen to go with the experienced contractors, DSME and Technip for Canoet, while Samsung and Technip will be doing the Prelude project. Both Petronas and Shell have chosen to take a full ownership and operation of the vessel, while Pacific Rubiales will lease the vessel from Exmar. And Exmar has chosen the Chinese yard company Wyson Offshore to build the vessel. So not that experienced players there. Wyson does not have that much experience in the offshore oil and gas space, so it will be interesting to see how that project plays out. Going forward, we expect FLNG to become a multi-billion-dollar market for the suppliers. Just 2 words about our forecasts. We build our investment forecasts bottom up. We look at all the projects, look at all the capacity that's under development, assign a cost per MTPA. We spread all the projects and all the investments out over time. We try to account for delays and cancellations so that our forecast will always be quite a bit lower than the visible demand and all the visible projects out there. With all the projects and all factoring in delays and cancellations, we still expect the EPC spending for FLNG vessels to reach around 7 billion in 2018. And of course, this is good news for the supplier industry. In the past year, we see that Prelude has been driving the contract awards in the FLNG segment. It has brought along quite many of the experienced players to supply different types of equipment, engineering, and services. Gas compressors, heat exchangers, surf engineering, the turret, and so on. Yeah, also I can mention that we expect around 55% of the new build cost to be bulks and equipment. So this should really be good news for the equipment suppliers looking at the FLNG industry. Going forward, these are some of the projects that the contractors will be looking at. These are some of the projects that we think are planning sanction within the next 2 years. After talking to some of you during the past 2 days, all of this may not be true, but this is at least some of the information that I've seen out in the public domain. Still, we don't expect all of these projects to meet the FID deadlines that we have here, and some of these projects may not materialize at all. But it's at least some of the potential projects that are out there. I want to focus a little bit on the risk part as well. It's always easy to sort of glorify all the potential markets out there. I know that there are some bankers here which are quite concerned with some of the risks in the industry, and we have some very good salespeople promoting the FLNG concept. I've tried to just make a simple sort of value chain of a project going from FEED, the project sanction, engineering, procurement, construction, and then the installation and commissioning, and look at some of the different factors coming into play. First of all, in the FEED phase, you're dealing with new technology, new concept that has never been tried before. We have seen that politics really prolong the process prior to project sanction, often making the lead time of projects a lot longer than first expected. Moving to the EPC phase, we see that there is a tightening capacity among the suppliers. A lot of the big Korean yards, they have a lot of projects going on. The engineering contractors are getting quite busy. There's a human resources squeeze in many parts of the industry. So for a lot of the operators, it will be a challenge just getting the contractors that you want and getting the contractors to supply the best people available for your project. Also in the EPC phase and also in the installation phase, the FLNG units have never been built before. They've never combined all of these different technologies on a floating vessel. And the companies have no prior experience that is totally similar to rely on. Also, another risky factor is that the FLNG space has attracted a lot of companies with a limited experience from either LNG or offshore oil and gas. We believe a few consequences of this will be project delays and cost overruns. And we see that there's great uncertainty regarding the actual project cost. That's also why I chose not to not include any sort of diagram comparing the costs in these projects, because we just think that the visibility and the quality of the numbers is not there yet. We also see that some of the risk factors here will limit the competition in the early years of the industry. There are a lot of contractors sitting on the sideline that do not want to devote resources into FLNG before they see that this is a proven concept and a proven industry. And we also see that a lot of the major oil companies are sitting on the sidelines and watching. I know that there are probably some of them doing their own in-house designs and doing a lot of in-house work and not going out in the public domain. But still, there are some operators driving this, and there are a lot of major companies which seem to take a wait-and-see approach. So we'll move on to one of these risk factors, project delays. We've already seen plenty of delays in the FLNG segment in the early years. This is a list of a few of the projects which have seen delays, mainly in the FEED phase and the project sanctions being pushed back. For the Abadi project being headed by INPEX, we have seen the FEED delayed numerous times since 2009. The FEED contract was expected now during the first half of 2012, but I've not seen any indication of a contract award, and this looks to face further delays. For the Bonaparte project, it was announced last year that the FID was being pushed back from 2013 to 2014, and the on-stream target was delayed to the end of 2018. Furthermore, the Gulf LNG project, which we heard about yesterday, Interoil should have reached FID by the end of 2011. When that didn't happen, it said that it would reach it by the end of first quarter 2012. Still, there was no FID made yet. The current status now is that the project is highly uncertain. The Papua New Guinean government have said that they intend to cancel the project. Interoil says that it will not be cancelled. There's a lot of political turmoil, as we heard yesterday, so this project is facing a lot of difficulties. Finally, we have the Santos Basin FLNG project. Petrobras expected FID for this project by the end of 2011. However, in the second half last year, it said that it would opt for a pipeline solution in the first development of the Santos Basin, and that it would put FLNG on hold. It also said that it would not have any FLNG project online before after 2015. Also, just keep in mind that the Pioneer Prelude is also delayed. In 2008, I saw that the plan was for Prelude to be operational in 2014, and now the current plan is to be on stream in 2017. We now turn our heads to the FPSO and floater segment. I just want to look at this with regards to cost overruns. It has a troubled history, and FPSO projects hit hard by cost overruns have led to project delays, management changes, and financial difficulties in their bankruptcy for some of the companies involved. Yeah, I'm not going to go more into detail on this, but it is to show you that there are a number of reputable and experienced companies in an industry which has matured quite a bit. There is quite a bit of experience, and still we see cost overruns happening every year on a number of projects where the contractors underestimate the risk and complexity involved in these projects. So just want to be aware of similar incidents and similar risks also occurring in the FLNG business. That wraps up the market trends part. I'll now try to give you a conclusion and a summary. Yeah, we are, to conclude, we are more concerned about the new build risks than the LNG market at the moment. I try to divide this into early mover and follower, and then the technical and commercial risk. We see quite a high technical risk for the early movers. The reason for this is, I said, that FLNG vessels have never been built or operated before. We think some of the main consequences will be project delays and cost overruns. On the commercial side, we see that there is a strong demand for LNG out there, and the first few projects could beat North America and Africa to the market. If we look at the followers, they can probably reduce their technical risk somewhat. You have more experienced contractors and operators who have been involved with a few projects. And you can also learn from the experiences and failures of your competitors. Moving on to the commercial side, we see that there is a significant amount of LNG supply entering the market, and sales agreements for gas could be more challenging. So to wrap up, what have we talked about today? We had a look at the FLNG projects that are planned. We see that there are quite a lot of projects in the pipeline. We don't think that all of these projects will come through. We think that you could see 7 to 8 projects online by the end of 2018. And going forward, FLNG can play a role in the global LNG supply picture, but it will be a limited role. We see plenty of risks in the FLNG space going forward in various parts of the value chain. And some of the main consequences will be delays and cost overruns. So if we turn our head a little bit to our mind to the future and next year, what will we talk about then? I think some of the things to look at will be the projects that we thought would be coming, but that have not been sanctioned by June 2013. I talked about East Africa as an emerging FLNG region, and we would know more about the impact of North American LNG exports. That wraps up for me. Thank you for listening.